Hello there, comrades. It is I, your Supreme Overlord, Vanny Vanilla. Episode 3 of G-Witch is in the books, and what an episode it was! It had everything from political intrigue to comedy, fight, and even a shocker of an ending. I'm almost sad that I have to wait every Sunday to watch this gem. I've got to say, comrades, I am absolutely hooked on this show. So let's jump right into it with the usual spoiler warning because, as always, we are going to take a deep dive into this episode and talk about what we just witnessed. So we begin with Miorine and Suletta in a hallway, presumably leaving the detention center. The relationship between these two is quite the quirky one. Again, I say relationship in the sense that they're pretty much just friends with the appearance of marriage for the sake of Miorine getting to Earth. If you ask me, it's a little selfish and borderline bullying of how Miorine sees this whole thing. But then again, she's been through some stuff herself with Delling being Delling. Suletta has some reservations about this whole marriage thing and mentions she has a list of things that she wants to do while in school. She wants to make friends, call them by nicknames, study in the library, eat lunch on the roof, and wants to go out on dates. I mean, she's a typical 17-year-old girl who has lived a pretty sheltered life on Mercury. She doesn't want to get bogged down with marriage, but Miorine does not care. It's pretty much Earth or bust for her, by any means necessary. Miorine mentions that the marriage would not happen immediately. 17 is the legal age of marriage in this universe, and Miorine is just under that age. So Miorine makes a pinky promise with Suletta, play the role of groom until marriage. I hate that I have to keep commenting on this relationship, but with everyone making such a big deal about lesbians in Gundam, when so far, after 3 episodes, if anything, they're friends of convenience, mainly on the part of Miorine. Anyway, so we get our first glimpse of that red badass mobile suit that was teased to us in the previous episode, piloted by none other than my man Guel Jatur. Comrades, may I introduce you to the Garibaldi. Weird name, I know. I would have gone with Duralblade or something. Anyways, I'm just saying, Jaturk Industries makes a mean mobile suit, and this is no exception. However, Guel is not happy. He asks the mechanic what has been done to this mobile suit. The Garibaldi is equipped with a 5th generation decision-making extension AI. This AI makes composite analytic predictions from previous combat data, kind of like RX-78's learning computer, but this is in beta testing. Guel is having none of this. He sees this addition of an AI as an insult. And who wouldn't? Guel is suddenly bright-slapped. That's 2 on the poor boy, by his father, Vim. Vim will stop at nothing to make sure Guel is the holder once more, and he will have to go against Suletta to get that title back. So naturally, Vim will exploit any advantage he can. We will see how that turns out later on in this episode. We return to Suletta getting dressed and talking to her mother. If this was a Seed episode, she would be in her bra and panties, but that's besides the point. She asked her mom, what is a Gundam? This only proves that she really doesn't know Ariel as well as she thinks, and most likely doesn't realize the power she possesses. As for Suletta's mother, if there was any doubt in your mind that Lady Prospera was not Elnora, this scene is irrefutable evidence. She mentions that Ariel and Suletta are not like a Gundam and a witch, but rather than her daughters. Come on. I know it, you know it, we all know it. Suletta returns to school and the students are swirling with rumors about the duel between her and Guel being redone. Nika shows up and compliments Suletta on her mobile suit. A whole lot of technical jargon by the mechanic, and it's way over my head, but I'm sure there's people out there smart enough to get it. Suddenly, Nika is interrupted by Guel, who officially proclaims the last duel between him and Suletta has been null and voided. Suletta immediately hides behind Nika. It's crazy that she is so meepish outside of the mobile suit. Anyway, she's actually relieved that Guel is her opponent, and Guel takes issue with that. This is a rare sense of confidence we see out of Suletta. Granted, she stammers through the whole thing. She may be underestimating Guel a little bit. The school bell rings and Suletta does the most awkward jog out of the scene. Back to Lady Prospera, she thanks Vim for his help during the inquiry in the previous episode, but Vim knows all too well what really went down. He was blackmailed and outplayed by Lady Prospera. He asks her how did she know about his assassination attempt of Delling, but she is not going to tell. At least not yet. I have no idea how she could have found out outside of a mole being somewhere. We're just gonna have to wait and see how it plays out. Meanwhile, back at the school, Shadiq speaks to his father, Sarius, aka the guy with the 40k nose thing. Sarius is very smart and aware of what's going on. Something is brewing between Shinsei and Jatur, and it's no secret that Lady Prospera is Suleta's mother. The secret is who Lady Prospera and Suleta really are. Shadiq learns that due to a mining accident, Lady Prospera has the headgear and cybernetic arm. Sarius orders his son to look into Suleta. Shadiq playing the role of spy is going to be interesting going forward. I have a feeling he is both a charmer and he can be ruthless. So Suleta meets Miorina in her garden, and you can tell Suleta wants to be Miorina's friend, but Miorina in typical tsundere fashion is pretty cold towards her. Suddenly, the boring one, Ellen, shows up, and Suleta is instantly Twitter-pated. Ellen is here on official business on behalf of the dueling committee. Suleta mentions that exchanging contact information at school was number 12 on her list. I don't know if it's Ellen's bland tone or what, but Ellen actually seems curious of Suleta's list. He even hopes Suleta fulfills her list. Ellen is quite the enigma. Definitely hard to read, so we'll be watching him closely. Suleta then enters the dueling committee's lounge where she meets Shadiq and immediately cowers at the sight of Guel. This scene is a little different. A formal meeting between the two dueling parties where they discuss the stakes of their duel. What's puzzling is why is this happening? When Miorina dueled Guel, he was surprised by her appearance in the aerial. If this is a custom for all duels, wouldn't Miorina have met Guel prior to the duel? I like the pomp and circumstance that they take with these duels, but maybe this will get addressed later on. Anyway, so they agree on the terms of the duel, and the snarky tan girl in the back named Cecilia, not to be confused with Cassilia, remarks how Guel has had his duel erased because of his powerful father. Guel mentions that if she wants a fight, all she has to do is say the word. I'm curious to know what mobile suit she's piloting. Anyway, so shocking enough, as Cecilia is throwing insults at Guel, Suleta jumps in and defends Guel. Later, alone in an elevator, Guel questions why she would say such a thing, and if she would just laugh at him like everyone else. It really seems like Guel has to puff his chest around his colleagues or else they'll see him as weak. Suleta explains this mantra that has been echoed throughout the series. If you run, you gain 1. If you move forward, you gain 2. Which basically means if you run, you gain safety, but if you move forward, you can gain confidence, recognition, or experience. It's a pretty neat philosophy, and I'm glad it was explained the way Suleta explains it. Anyways, back to the meat of the story, we finally have a name for Guel's brother, Lauda Neil. I had to cheat a little bit by checking the official website for some background on him. So apparently he is Guel's younger half-sibling from another mother. Despite the age difference, they're in the same grade. Also, he does the Garma hair thing, though his hair is nowhere near as glorious as Garma's. So his father, Vim, sends a text message ordering him to follow his commands for the next duel and to look into a particular file in the message. What exactly are these orders? Just wait for it. As the duel is getting ready to begin, Lauda meets with Vim and mentions that only students are allowed to be involved in the duels. We already know Vim is not going to abide to the rules he does not like, including these pesky duels. Lauda insists Guel does not need cheat tricks to win. Lauda believes in his brother more than Vim believes in his own son. That's the kind of relationship that Jaturks have. Pretty toxic on the part of Vim. Before the duel begins, the traditional vow must be recited. If you recall, Miorina and Guel said it, but Suleta...
勝敗はモビルスーツの性能のみで
操縦者の技のみで決まらず
It's pretty funny how Suleta bumbles her way through this. She's growing on me. So the duel begins and Suleta immediately goes on the offensive with her beam rifle. Guel is pretty wise about her attack, but he starts to notice a problem with his controls. The Garibaldi dodges the aerial shots and throws its spear. Oh my god, what a satisfying sound that makes. The interesting thing this spear does, as it was deflected, it turns around and goes right after the aerial for a second attack. So the Garibaldi's limbs can detach and be used as weapons, something that we've seen similar to the Turn X in Turn A Gundam. With these drone-like detachable limbs and parts, the Garibaldi is a force to be reckoned with. After another attack by the aerial, Guel noticed again something being very wrong with his controls. He has no control. The mobile suit is purely acting on AI alone. This hits Guel hard in his confidence. His father doesn't believe in him so much that he left the piloting of the Garibaldi to an AI in beta testing. Suddenly, the sprinkler system goes off and acts as an anti-beam shield. It degrades the beam shots from the aerial. I'm sure Iron-Blooded Orphan fanboys are whooping because Barbatos would totally win in this situation. Of course, you could have easily guessed Vim was behind all of this. The look on Lauda's face says it all. Not only is it a dishonorable tactic, it's just downright cheating. Guel goes in with his spear and engages into melee combat with Suletta. I'm willing to bet Suletta is not well versed in melee like Guel is, and it shows. The aerial's arm was cut clean off, and Suletta is in trouble. Miorine knows something is fishy going on with the sprinkler system suddenly going off, so she decides to investigate by launching in a mobile worker-like mobile suit called a mobile craft. Yikes, that is an ugly looking thing, but it's a worker, so I'm sure it does its job. After a few blows, the aerial cuts both of the Garibaldi's arms off as the aerial was going to go in for the finishing blow. It loses its beam saber? I think this is the first time where something wet was lost in the grip of a Gundam. At least I think. Meanwhile, Miorine finally found the source of the sprinkler malfunction, the Snaggletooth and her friend, Felcio Rollo and Petra Ita. I had to pull up their names in the Gundam website. I don't think they ever said their names in the show so far. So with the sprinklers being shut off, the playing field has been even again. Well, by even if you mean the Gundam with funnels is about to out-funnel the mobile suit again. Yes, very even. The fuselage of beams fire at the armless Garibaldi, and the AI begins to predict everything wrong. Guel knew what was coming, and he couldn't stop it because the AI was in control. Even when down, the controls are still moving as if the AI was trying to make late adjustments. Vim shows up and scolds his son once again. Guel puts two and two together. The sprinkler system going off, the AI. Guel is clearly upset that he cannot gain the praise and belief of his own father. You have to feel for the guy. Episode 1, everyone was dogging on him as an asshole jock, but really, this kid has been emotionally and physically abused to the point where he has to onion himself up in layers. Guel's built-up emotion unleashes into a punch that disables the Garibaldi's AI. Suletta sees this moment to finish the duel, but Guel cleverly uses a pair of beam arms to block the attack. This Garibaldi mobile suit is quite impressive. I was not expecting beam arms to show up. Guel pushes back on the aerial and launches the Garibaldi's feet anchors. Holy crap, how many weapons does this thing have? The aerial and Garibaldi rush towards each other for one final strike. At this point, I was expecting both of the antennas to be taken out into a draw, but instead, if you look closely, the aerial takes out one of the Garibaldi's beam arms, knocks it off balance, holds the other arm with its remaining hand, and crashes into the Garibaldi's head, causing the antenna to break. Suletta has once again defeated Guel. Suddenly, Suletta gets a text, a congratulatory message from Ellen. She then gets spammed by literally every single student at the school. As someone who never turns off their Discord notifications, I can understand this 100%. So here's a cute little moment between Miorine and Suletta. They're celebrating their victory. I mean, after all, without Miorine's help, the sprinkler trick might have worked. Suletta gives Miorine the nickname of Mio Mio. After all, that is on her list to give her friends a nickname. But Miorine was having none of it.
よかったねミオミオ Huh?
Suddenly, from the down Garibaldi, Guel is seen crawling out. Suletta goes to Guel and meets him face to face. Guel's pride is not only shattered from yet another loss to Suletta, but because of everything that went wrong during that duel. Suletta apologizes to Guel, stating that she underestimated him and actually compliments him. Something I think that's what he has been looking for all along, because what Guel does next absolutely shocked me and put my jaw to the floor.
スレッタ・マーキュリー、俺と結婚してくれ。
He proposed to Suletta? The man gets one compliment in his life and proposes marriage? Holy crap, what a bombshell. So basically, we have gone through so much within just 3 episodes of this series. So much political corruption going on, and now a reverse harem Gundam series. For those who need a recap, Suletta is currently the fiancé of Miorine, who was originally sought after by Guel. Miorine is using Suletta to get to Earth and away from her father, so saying there's love there is a huge reach, at least for now. Alan is interested, possibly attracted to Suletta, and Suletta, considering she was staring at the food box that he gave her and was her first contact in her phone, might have some interest in him too. And now to sprinkle on top, after getting his ass kicked twice, the man realizes, holy shit, I'm in love, someone give me a compliment. I think Guel is starting to turn left on that Patrick Polisauer route, and I'm all for it. Glad to see my boy is not only in love, but going through the most character development that we've seen so far. Episode 4 is going to be a wild ride, I'm sure. Anywho, comrades, that's the video. Please let me know what you think down below. What are your thoughts on the Garibaldi? What do you hope to see between Guel and Suletta? And of course, who are you rooting for in the Marry Suletta sweepstakes? Also, don't forget to follow my Instagram, vanny.vanilla.v3. I read every single comment you post on here, and if you ever want to DM me, feel free to do so. Until next time, comrades, bye! Congratulations, you made it to the end. The cringe is over, unless you want more. Do it. Click those videos in the box. Do it. Do it!